Alright everyone, here we have on the left the Proto-Z and on the right the blade Inductrix. Now this blade Inductrix has some defense around the blades and it also has more advanced modes. But we're going to be testing these today for beginner because both of them are very great for beginners. This one in safe or beginner mode is a little bit more agile but still at the same time self-leveling, really great for a beginner to learn on. And this Proto-Z is a fully beginner quad. There's no dual rates, it's got very low rates, but it will do hands-off hovers. It hovers really great, and it's great for a beginner to learn on. So my girlfriend here is going to be testing both of these. She's flown only about 2 days her entire life, the last couple days. She's flown only a few battery packs, and we're going to go ahead and take these up and see what she can do after just flying a couple battery packs. So let's see how these do with a new pilot flying them. Alright, so she's taking up the Proto-Z first. Now I just got this, and for an intermediate to advanced pilot, I would not really recommend it. It has very low rates. But for a beginner, you can kind of mash the sticks a lot and it's not going to go too crazy. Now as you can see, she's kind of moving around the room. We're probably going to get a crash happen at some point, which is fine. And we'll grab it. Alright, so here we're taking off again. And this quad really, like I said, if you're intermediate and advanced, not so fun. But for a beginner, it is very good. It's still durable, as you can see. We're having a little bit of crashes. But it's a very slow rate, and for beginners it's good to learn on. Let's go ahead and get it up again. Try to pull it back on the right stick. Uh-oh.
Sorry.
That's okay, I got it. And I was worried about this when we first got it, how durable it would be. And so far, as you can see, not even the blades look like they have any damage. And it's been crashed actually quite a few times. The Inductrix, of course, has the protection around the blades, but this one's been pretty durable for how it's built. And as you can see, for a beginner, you're going to be able to start learning how to hover it, do some throttle management. You're going to have crashes happen, but it's very stable and smooth, actually. Of course, it comes flying at the camera when I say that. Let me see where it went here.
Yeah, I was not doing that before.
Alright, so we recalibrated the gyros for fun. Seems to be hovering a bit more stable. It was moving a little bit off to the sides. And the hardest thing for a beginner is throttle management. So you'll see a little bit of up and down movement here happening. So as you can see with the new pilot here, this one's doing pretty good. You're going to be bouncing around a little bit, and you know it's hard to learn the control of it. But overall, for someone that's flown almost never, just like a couple batteries in their whole life, oh god. There we go, she pulled it back away from the TV. That's a good thing. For someone that's never flown more than a couple batteries, this is pretty amazing. It would be hard to do this on quads. Well, they didn't have quads. Let's say helicopters from like 5 years ago. These self-stabling quadcopters here are pretty amazing. And there we go, she was getting close to the wall. She's learned to pull the right stick back a bit. And now she can pull the right stick back and left, but it's hard when you're first starting to get it perfect. But there we go. Oh, little throttle management going on. But as... Oh. Alright, so this will be the last little takeoff with the Proto-Z here. As you can see though, someone that's never flown, it's you know, pretty darn impressive for a first-time flyer. I've seen lots of people fly to begin with, and you know, it is hard to get the throttle management and then getting the controls going. But this Proto-Z is taking a beating and still very nice to learn on. Next we'll take up the blade Inductrix in the safe beginner mode, which has a little more control than this one in terms of more movement in the cyclic. However, it also is still self-stabilizing, so I guess we'll let this go down one more time and then we'll switch over. Alright, let's switch over to the Inductrix here. Alright, so now she's got the blade Inductrix in the air, and again, this one has a little more control. It's actually a little bit more touchy, let's say, but it also has a very good safe technology and hovers very nice. Has nice durability. And as you can see, she's keeping this one in the air. So far it seems like longer than the other one. And she's actually using that right stick and moving it around a little bit. From this first flight, I'd say that's the longest flight she's had so far here. Nice! That was a completed flight with a landing. Not bad at all. Oh, you turned it around. The blues are towards you. Oh, alright. One little crash landing on the ground there. Alright. So the Inductrix here is by Blade. It has the protection around the motors or the blades, and we've crashed this one a lot. As you saw, we crashed the last one. Neither one have had any damage happen yet, which is nice. The Inductrix does not have flip buttons. The Proto-Z does, but I prefer flipping with actual your own input rather than a button. Now this one also has an advanced mode with no self-leveling, and it's like almost like flying a CP helicopter, except it's not, but it's very similar feel. And that's good for beginners to experts. So this heli here is great for beginners to expert. The Proto-Z is just for really beginners. Gonna finish up a little flight, see if she can get it around, maybe land on the table again. If you could land on the table, that'd be pretty awesome. Oh no. Oh no, that's okay. Alright, try to bring it down and land on the table. We'll finish this video with a couple questions. Alright, we had a landing there. Alright, so that was the Proto-Z and the Inductrix. You know, I'd say that her flights, even though the Inductrix has a little more control, like a little faster speed, I'd say, you know, her flights looked better with the Inductrix. She kept it in the air longer. But we gotta ask her, you're beginning to fly, which one felt easier?
The Inductrix.
And the Inductrix felt easier? So even though the Proto-Z is kind of like a little slower, the Inductrix is what a 2-day flyer says is kind of better or easier for a new pilot. And it's also greater or better for advanced and even just intermediate pilots because it has more modes. So that's a quick little rundown of the two. Both are great, but go with the Inductrix if you want to expand. It's a little more expensive, but it's worth it. Have any questions, let me know. We'll see y'all later.